The action is on the air. I would like you to get on your feet right now for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
Hug the person next to you, tell them you love them. National Action Network Change Choir. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Senator, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning at the House of Justice for you that are here live at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, you that are watching us live stream around the country at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, we are happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy, and our musical director, Brother Pavan Neal. Let me emphasize two announcements before getting into our review of the week and our message for the week. One, I want everybody to, is particularly in Radio Land, to make a notation that in 2 Saturdays, October 3rd, 2 Saturdays from today, the Triumph Awards of National Action Network will air on TV1 all over the country, TV1 network all over the country, from 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours. This is the first time National Action Network's entertainment and cultural award show will be televised, our 5th year. And you are going to want to watch this show. John Legend and T.I. and Tyrese and Wanda Sykes and Special Award Reverend Joseph Lowry. It is going to be a great night, and you need to write down now, wherever you make your notations, to you and your family to watch the National Action Network's Triumph Awards just 2 Saturdays from now. It also happens to be my birthday, so it's a good birthday gift for me. I believe we're gonna have a watch party here at the network, and because some of y'all that didn't pay your cable bill can come watch it here. But TV One nationwide will be televising it on October 3rd. Then the next morning, Sunday morning, October 4th at 8 a.m. Eastern, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton will come back on MSNBC. We start live that Sunday morning. And we'll be on every Sunday starting that day. So it's going to be a big weekend from the Triumph Awards, Saturday, October 3rd, to the Politics Nation return October 4th. And we want you to make those notations. Another notation, but while we're on TV, I think this Wednesday, the whatever, I don't guess it's a sitcom, whatever y'all call Empire, comes back on Wednesday night. I'm going to make a cameo appearance on that. So we're doing a whole lot of stuff this week. Now, the other thing I want you to do in Radio Land is that there is a lot of activity that is being done by young activists, young leaders. And many of them need to be encouraged. And what we've done is say, you know, that there are those that want to get into arguments on who represents what. And what I've encouraged our young folk is don't even engage in argument, just keep doing your work. Your work speaks for itself. At the end of the day, most people that are picking fights need you to fight back to get some attention. If you just ignore them and keep doing what you're doing, they'll go by the way of the wayside. Don't even get into that. I learned years ago that one of the reasons that people will attack you is because if you can respond, it elevates them. If you just let them go on, then it will end up being about nothing. Because once they get their first salvo off, all right, fine, you don't agree with us, you don't like us, whatever. Now what's your next point? And they'll have one. But if you keep on going with it, you give them life by paying attention to them rather than paying attention to what you are about. We out here for a purpose. We ain't out here for an argument. Having said that, those young people, millennials, as we know them, that have done and are doing some substantive work, we are going to poll, and the top 3 of them, we're going to honor and also give them some financial assistance on their activism. We've asked people to go to the shiftdaily.com, theshiftdaily.com, which is the millennial website, and vote on a millennial activist that you know that is doing great work. And the top 3 from that poll, we're going to announce and we're going to give some assistance to. Millennial Activist of the Year. Now we got a bunch right here that you can nominate. Or you may know someone in your neighborhood, in your church, in your fraternity, in your organization, or just somebody you see, you may not know them. Go to theshiftdaily.com right now and nominate some young person, some millennial, that you would nominate for Millennial of the Year. And I think that it is important we encourage the young people that are in line with really doing things concrete in the community. So I wanted to get those out very early. Also, this week, we know that a lot of the attention of the country, really, and particularly in New York, will be around the Pope's visit. And Reverend Bishop Herbert Daughtry, who's with us this morning, give him a hand. And he and I had breakfast with other religious leaders with the Cardinal this week, and have been invited, Mr. Foy as well. They're doing the World Trade Center with the Cardinal and the Pope on this Friday. And one of the things that is interesting to me is that this Pope has set a tone of saying that we must deal with poverty, and we must deal with income inequality, and we must deal with oppression. Now, there's some things that he is to the right on in terms of women and gays and all, but there's clearly some progressive utterances and a progressive bent to this Pope that we've not seen. I would hope that while he is here, that we embrace that from an ecumenical standpoint. I was talking to some folk in Washington yesterday, and they were saying, well, I'm not with the Pope, I'm not with religion, I'm radical. Good, I'm radical and religious. Well, I believe the church is irrelevant. Good. I don't know, but remember a time in history that people didn't think the church was irrelevant. You ain't got nothing new. Well, I don't believe in the old God. I believe in the model of the Panthers and the Radicals. Well, the Panthers are just as old as what we do. So I mean, just all kind of like, just say what you got to say. And let us say what I got to say. Quit lying and distorting. So I think that all of us should respect religious leaders and moral leaders if they're setting a positive tone. And we certainly, in a world where you see Syrians that are migrating and can't get locked out of countries, in a world where we're seeing all kind of despair from climate change to income inequality to poverty, we need real leadership that is pointing toward deliverance rather than a whole lot of pot shots and division toward one another. I keep telling folk, in order to tackle big problems, you need big people. So we salute the Pope's coming and hope that he sets a tone that raises the bar in the world discussion about what's going on in terms of income inequality and poverty. Now, I spent the week, I always try to give a report a week. This week, first week, well, I didn't have to be in TV studio every night, even though we're working toward a Sunday the 4th airing. And I started the week on Sunday night in Greenville, South Carolina, and Monday morning for the memorial services, memorial concert Sunday night, and Monday morning the funeral services for Mrs. Helen Jackson, mother of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I've known her since I was around 12. And I spoke at both the memorial and the funeral, along with former President Clinton. And I ask you to continue to keep Reverend Jackson in your prayers. Reverend Jackson, I told him, I don't care how well known you are and how long you've lived through crisis, the death of your mother will affect you. I went through it 3 years ago. There is no way to prepare for that, and there's no easy way to overcome that. You have but one mother. A lot of folks, well, y'all out there, but that's still your mama. And I would ask your prayers in that. We went on from there into Washington and for the Congressional Black Caucus, and spoke yesterday for Founders Day at Norfolk State College in Norfolk, Connecticut, and then went to the screening at the White House of this HBO special that's coming out with the president's trip to a prison. And he talked about it and referred to our work in his speech yesterday. It's on our website. Tomorrow I'll be, for you that watch us on live stream, I'll be in Petersburg, Virginia at Gilead Baptist Church 175th anniversary. And it's the church that produced Wyatt T. Walker, former pastor, pastor emeritus of Canaan Baptist Church and chairman emeritus of National Action Network. I'll be preaching their 11 a.m. service for the 175th anniversary, and then I will be in Fort Wayne, Indiana on Monday. So I'm doing 4 or 5 cities a week, building the network, building our chapters. One of the things that was interesting to me as I traveled to Norfolk yesterday, there is a tremendous potential danger in what they're trying to sell the culture in our community. And that is that they are trying to really make it an traditional movement, particularly among young people. One of the things that I talked to Kirsten Ford about, and Reverend Karen McCall and Stephen Marshall, Dominique and Ashley, many of our Huddle people, is you've got to not look at the obvious attacks. It's those attacks that does not seem obvious and that sounds good. Your most effective attacks are the things that your ears accept and your brain just doesn't even think about. This whole fight about we are against traditions in our community. First of all, who benefits from that? The way you can judge anything is go to the end. And if you find out the end product doesn't gain anything for who you serve and may help those that you're fighting, then you might know where the scheme came from. When you're against tradition, first you start with I'm against the black church. Then I'm against black colleges. Then I'm against any tradition. So who benefits from destabilizing the institutions in the black community? Well, let me give you a couple of suggestions. We are entering a very serious political year. Y'all with me so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are about 14 months away from the election of the first president to succeed a black man as president of the United States. 14 months from now. One of these folk that you watched the other night debating, or on the Democratic side, will be elected to succeed President Obama. The big question in the middle of all of that, with all of the economic plight that we deal with in our community, some of which President Obama made some advances. No question he saved the economy. We went from losing 800,000 jobs in month to every month he's been in, he's provided jobs, cut unemployment, including black unemployment in half. So with all these economic conditions, criminal justice reform, where he's dealing with the mandatory sentencing laws and dealing with police reform and all that. In the middle of all of that, you bring on another election and you want to weaken the institutions that have upheld the community that produced an Obama and produced the progress. The only ones that can benefit from it is the people that in the disarray can take advantage of the fact there's no infrastructures in our community to stabilize and continue our movement. They're the only one that can benefit from it. Well, I've seen this movie before, in the 60s. When I was a kid, Dr. King, Urban Lee, NAACP, Thurgood Marshall, Fannie Lou Hamer, Gloria Richardson, the civil rights movement, student movement sitting in lunch counters, freedom riders, brought us to where we had seen the social order change in this country. Went from the back of the bus at the beginning of the 60s to a U.S. Senator being elected, Ed Brooke in Massachusetts, and black mayors in Gary and Cleveland in one decade. One decade. What did they do? They surfaced a move to try and destabilize them. So rather than organize and say, well, we disagree with y'all and we more radical or whatever it is, they targeted Dr. King. They targeted the NAA and started a huge infight. The results were 68, in the middle of the civil rights, black power, radical fighting each other, and then the anti-war groups start fighting each other, and the who was the more radical fighting each other. The right wing came right down the middle and said, okay, they destabilized now. We need law and order, and elected Richard Nixon. I want y'all to get this good at home. We romanticized the 60s. But the fact is, at the end of the 60s, once they destabilized everything, had us all fighting, burning up our own communities. Oh, we need a sheriff now to establish order. And Richard Nixon, who had lost for president in 1960, went on to California and lost in 62 to be governor. A twice whipped man came back and won. Why? Because he didn't face a stabilized opposition. So in this infight, and I'm not saying who's right or wrong. I think you need all kind of strands in a movement. But why y'all got to fight each other? I love my mama. Well, I love mine. But why you got to call my mama a name to show you love your mama? Just love your mama. My mama ain't got to be nothing because you love your mama. Everybody love their mama. Everybody agrees and is committed to their philosophy. When somebody got to come in and build their own, by being anti-something else, there is a hidden agenda. And I'm not after them, I'm after the agenda. The agenda is, if you can cause so much infighting and destabilization and put the air of recklessness and bedlam out there, that's how you create the climate for some demagoguery by somebody like Donald Trump. Because people become so hysterical that they don't even care that he ain't got a policy attached to his slogans, because they're reacting to emotion rather than dealing with policy. And he gives the attitude as, I will stand up to them. I'll close the border. I'll make the Browns stay in Mexico. How you gonna pay for it? Don't worry about it. I'm standing up to them. And he got everybody suited up. Them, they are the problem. And you on TV fighting, giving him the picture he needs. I looked at the debate the other night. much as I could. But now since I lost all this weight, I can't hold a lot of stuff on my stomach. And 3 hours of playing to people's fears and sound bites and schoolyard fights. How are you going to come behind a scholarly, deliberate, reasoned man like Barack Obama with that kind of foolishness? Other than to stroke fear and insecurity among the public. That wasn't bad enough. 2 nights later, guy got up and questioned the president's religion and birth, and Trump wouldn't even correct him. So you can't say, well, I disagree with Obama on affordable health care. I disagree with Obama on whatever your issue is. No, he can't be that. He got to be another religion and not born here. Because you need hysteria because you have no policy. You know, if you want to be in entertainment and can't act, get on a reality show and learn how to pull somebody's weave out their head. So you ain't got to act. And that's what you watching in the Republican debate, some weave pulling. You ought to apologize to my wife. I'm not apologizing to your wife. You shouldn't have said that about my wife. Well, I said it about your... We got tens of thousands of people trying to get out of Syria. And you up on the stage debating about whether somebody gonna apologize to your wife. And we gonna let you run the free world? I mean, it ain't even a serious discussion. Don't get in the gutter. Keep your eye on the prize. If you get in a mud slide, you're going to get mud on your clothes. There is no pride in winning a mud fight. It just makes you the dirtiest one. 2 weeks from now, we're going, 3 weeks from now, going to Cuba. And I've organized a trip. Attorney Hardy's taking the point on this. Because as we see the normalizing of relationships between the United States and Cuba, today announced that they are now even altering some of the travel restrictions and where businesses can open up offices in Cuba and hire Cubans. Well, we want to make sure that African American and Latino American businesses get on the front side of those agreements. We've been the community that has been there opposing the embargo all along, normalizing all along. We should not wait and allow the big casino guys who have financed right-wingers that were against the efforts to bring the embargo down be the first ones in to cut their deals, and you will end up with the grandchildren of Batista's regime exploiting Cuba. We got to go in now. That's what we ought to be discussing. Embargo is coming out, clearly naturalizing is coming. What does that mean for black business? What does that mean in terms of our relationship of the black church and the church in Cuba? So the Cuban Council of Churches has invited us. We're going in 3 weeks, which ties right into the Pope, who gets in Cuba today, and who did a lot of backdoor diplomacy, getting the United States and Cuba to this point. But that wasn't discussed in the weed-pulling reality show y'all call the GOP debate. Because if they can keep your mind on trash, then the casino guys can cut their deals. And other stuff up here can happen. And the job of advocacy is to know what to advocate and what to keep people's eyes on. This whole issue of where we go, I was telling them yesterday when I was coming out of the White House. Well, Ramel, you know, you've been out there a while. I'm learning activism. What do you suggest? I said, one of the things you got to suggest, I suggest rather, is don't let others determine your agenda and what you spend and invest your time in. Activists don't react to the news. Activists makes the news react to their activism. I said, for example, the Fed announced that they were not increasing the interest rates. That's an important issue to you? Well, no, it don't mean nothing to me. Well, it means a whole lot, because how the interest rates go will determine unemployment and employment in terms of how private sector deals. And that hits us right here on 145th Street. But if they got you somewhere arguing about Donald Trump and offending Carly Fiorina's looks, they can play with the interest rates and you ain't even interested. The interest rates got more to do with what we have to deal with in Harlem than some argument about whether or not somebody was offended or not. Don't let them trick you into discussing stuff that don't matter. I asked young folk, had young people's group here in the National Action Network, had a beautiful debate the other week. District leader, Labor Day, packed in here. I saw one of the guys in D.C. yesterday at the Black Caucus, not from our young people's group, but that was here that night. And he said, yeah, Red Mal, I was there. Your young people's group is, the young professional committee is doing a great job. I got to talk to them about the mayor's race. I said, what mayor's race? He said, the mayor's race in 2017. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Maybe my smartphone is funny, but the calendar on my smartphone goes to 2016 before you get to 2017, which means you're going to have a congressional, Senate, and presidential race before you get to the mayor of New York. How y'all majoring in a local race 2 years from now, when the whole country gonna make decisions next year, and whatever decisions emanate out of that will determine the mayor's race? Y'all sitting up doing interviews on de Blasio while Trump and the right wing trying to take the country, and the right wing trying to maintain the majority of the Senate and the Congress, and they got you running around finding out if de Blasio showed up somewhere on time. You the one late. But again, activism is more than just vetting. It's about knowing where to focus. That's why we brought tens of thousands of people to Washington to talk about the jurisdictional threshold of a federal case on police. That's why out of all these movements, we got a special prosecutor appointed in New York. in this year, only state to get it done on police matters. That's why in certain states we got body cameras, because you got to focus on what to do. And if you have motion, nobody have more rallies and movements and marches than us, but they are strategically planned for results. We don't have families out there just out there for exercise. This ain't the workout group. This is a movement. Some of y'all just like to work. Just work out. Hep 2, hep 3. Just drills. Where you going? Nowhere. 3 step forward, 2 back, 1 to the side. Hip, 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 hop. Well, what is all of that going to get us? Nothing. We don't believe in nothing. Well, I do. My point to you today is we got to focus on our interests rather than be distracted by this entertainment that they call in politics. My message to you today is don't let them Richard Nixon us by manufacturing what looks like some fight between the radicals and the established blacks, when it is a distraction to elect a 21st century Richard Nixon. That's my message to y'all. I've seen this movie before. They will pump up folk whose only job is distraction and division. They will not attack the right wing. They will attack each other. They're more mad with civil rights leadership than they are the right wing leadership, because they are assigned to do that. They're not attacking the right wing and the Congress that's obstructed everything we stand for. They're already attacking de Blasio, who's 2 years away. What's that all about? You got to be smarter than that. Let me bring this home to the church world. I hope y'all got this Richard Nixon message, because I'm telling you, I see where this is going. A lot of my friends, when I was growing up, and I first started in the movement, a lot of my friends would, oh no, we ain't breadbasket, we ain't in the church. That's church-based. 5 years later, a lot of them had been abandoned, left, gone to jail, or dead. This ain't no new argument. Reverend Dorothy will tell you, when I grew up in Brooklyn, I knew Bill Jones and Sonny Carson. I chose Bill Jones, but I knew all sides. This ain't a new argument. It's not a new discussion. So why are they bringing it up now, right in time for the elections? The other part of this, I think that is something that we need to deal with in this week the Pope is coming, is the biggest problem with the church world is that we have lost a sense of mission. Why do you have a church? A church is not established to be a cathedral or edifice for the glorification of the denomination or the leadership. A church is supposed to be there to empathize with the people and fight on their behalf and worship God. If that is not your role, then there is no reason for you to exist. So the discussion is, how many folks you had at your church yesterday, Reverend? Not how many folks did you serve. How many you see? How many showed up? Like performers at a concert. You trying to fill seats rather than feed empty bellies. How did the people respond to your message? Not what was your message.
That's all right.
I watched a guy the other day. I'm getting ready to shout you. So your job is to make me shout. That's what you call preaching. Your job ain't to enlighten me. Your job not to make me have a deep experience with God. Your job is not to give me faith to overcome my obstacles. Your job is not to make me seek higher ground, even though I'm in a lowly situation. Your job is to hit my funny bone and make me shout. I will still be unemployed. My kid is still in jail under unfair conditions. I still got bad housing, kids going to worse schools, but you make me shout. I can dance through my misery. It's like going to the dentist. I went to the dentist week before last. First thing he did, say you lay down in the seat, they hit the button and it goes, leans back. And he smile at you. No one get ready to tear your mouth up. But he takes out this shiny needle and sticks, he says, only gonna hurt a minute. Don't worry, Reverend, only gonna hurt a minute, then you ain't gonna feel nothing for hours. Just take one little pinch, and then you ain't gonna feel nothing for hours. And he shoot that one little pinch, and that Novocaine go in your jaw. And he could take a sledgehammer in and you sit up there just smiling. He ripping the roots out your jaw, and you just smile. Because you've been Novocaine. And that's what a lot of you preachers are doing. Novocaine gospel. You don't ever give a gospel of liberation, a gospel of endurance. Is Novocaine gospel. I'm gonna shout you now. You don't feel it now. You're still broke, you just don't feel it. You're still oppressed, you just don't feel it. You're still about 2 minutes from being evicted, but you just don't feel it. I'm gonna shout you out. Novocaine gospel. I'm not going to break your shackles. I'm going to bless them. You got blessed shackles now. You're still a slave, but you just got blessed shackles. And when I get this Novocaine in you, the shackles won't feel that tight. And it'll wear off by Saturday night, so come back next Sunday and get some more Novocaine. Because we're raising a crowd of preachers that do not have the concern or empathy for the people. Because how could you ignore the gardeners? How could you ignore people that can't afford housing? How could you ignore children in schools not learning nothing unless you don't care about the people you preaching to? Let me tell you something. Reread about King David. When David was charged with Nathan, David had decided that he was going to go and engage in a romance with another man's wife. He had a liking for a married woman. He sent her husband to war, and her husband was killed. And he was able then to freely have this man's wife. Y'all with me so far? Nathan the prophet came to confront him. Now, if you're a prophet, you know how to deliver a message that'll get through. Nathan didn't walk up in his chambers and start screaming about your adultery, going to hell, I'm going to anoint you with oil and condemn you to hell. Nathan said, you know, King, I heard about this man. Had everything, had all the sheep he needed. But then he saw a man with one sheep, and he wanted that too. And he took it. And David said, outrage, greed. How could he want to take something he had, everything he had? What kind of man is this? And the prophet looked at him and said, I'm talking about you. You never put yourself in the place of the man that you were taking the only thing he had. Now I want y'all to get this real clear, Reverends listening. Nathan never condemned him for the adultery. He never condemned him for the murder. He condemned him for not putting himself in the shoes of the man that he violated. The sin is when you lose the capacity to feel the pain of others. All other sins emanate from that. But the first sin, Stephen Marshall, is when you can't even feel the pain of others. Once you lose that sense of feeling others' pain, then you'll do anything because you lost the sensitivity you need. Man choke a man. And 11 times. The man said, I can't breathe. And you don't even forget the rule books. You don't even have enough human sensitivity to feel a man in your arm struggling for his life. But you lost your capacity to feel and identify with somebody else. We become so robotic that we don't feel the heartbeat of each other. And that's where we've lost the moral balance. That's what the Pope needs to address. It's bad enough you don't feed the hungry, but you don't even care that they're hungry. You create laws not to feed the poor, but just get them off the streets so they don't bother my windshield while I'm riding by. How sick and pervasive is that? That your answer to poverty is to keep the squeegee man off the corner. Don't give him a job. Don't give him a light. Just keep him out my way. What y'all gonna do about these homeless people? They stinking up my corner. Not let's provide them somewhere to live. Not let's find out what broke them. But get them out my way. Because you lost your sensitivity. And you walk past homeless people. And you walk past people people in the street begging, and you want them removed while you go in your cathedral and play with God. If you have no sympathy, no empathy, no identity with the poor of God's children, with the oppressed of God's children, then what are you in your cathedral on your knees asking God to bless you for when you just cursed everybody that God gave life? That's what the poor need to address, the loss of moral empathy. And then those that come up and raise it, we become controversial. We become divisive. We become the troublemakers. One of the things, and I'll let you go on this, one of the things that is a sign of Jesus is that Jesus never made people qualified to serve. Go back to the last gathering he had. Tell you something you missed. I told you the other week about how at the Last Supper, Jesus washed the traitor's feet. A lot of y'all didn't think about that. Well, let me tell you something else y'all think about.
Yes, sir.
They gathered. He has them sitting around the table. He takes the bread and the wine. Tell them, eat of the bread is my flesh. Eat or drink of the wine is my blood. Often as you do this, remember me. And they had the Last Supper, traitor and all. Even though he knew Judas was going to sell him out that night. Fed him. Even though he knew Peter was going to deny him. He fed him. Sometimes you got to feed the folk that you know going to betray you. Because it's not about them, it's about you. It's not about what they're going to do to you, it's how you're going to respond to it. Your character is not determined by how folk treat you, it's how you respond to the treatment. But let me show you this. After he fed them, that is when he stood up and took off his garments, the Bible said, and girded himself and got down and washed their feet. Is that right? Now let me show you the part that y'all sanctimonious, highly pious preacher missionaries miss. If he washed them after he fed them, it meant that Jesus didn't require that you had to be clean to pull up to his table. He didn't clean them before he fed them. He didn't say, you dirty and nasty, don't come to my table. He fed them nasty and dirty because he knew after you feed folk, you can clean them. You so busy trying to clean folk before you feed them that you can't get their attention. If you feed the people will want to be clean because they'll say, this person fed me and cared about me. If I'm hungry, don't bring me a soap and towel, feed me. If you feed me, I want to be clean. I serve a God that don't care how dirty I am, there's room at the table. Don't care what mistakes you made, there's room at the table. I don't care how stinking your background, there's room at the table. Jesus didn't require that I wash before I sat down. So if your church want me too clean, before I can come, you can keep your church. Because it's not in the tradition of Jesus. I come from a Jesus that said, just as I am, just as I am, just as I am. Everybody's saying, everybody's saying, everybody's saying, everybody's saying, sing it like you mean it, sing it like you mean it. There may be someone here today, hears us on the radio, sees what we do in public media, but never became a part of the National Action Network. We have active chapters from arts and culture to our young professionals to all kinds of activities that you can be a part of an ongoing movement. 25 years old next year. We ain't going nowhere. We're not just jumping up on an issue. We ain't going nowhere. And you may want to be a part of that. If you're here now, never join. You don't even have to have membership dues today. Just come down the aisle, either side, and shake my hand. Let me sign you up to the National Action Network. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Yeah, singing like you mean it.